Okay, so in this edition, guys, I want to talk about how to use Cypress to test APIs. Well, this majorly APIs on these days are just usually like a REST API, and you have GraphQL. Any of these really can be tested with Cypress. So now that we've got Cypress project created, as you can see, so now obviously the prerequisite is that you would have had some form of Cypress project created. So in this case now we have a Cypress project. Obviously there's nothing, this is just a blank project. I'm gonna delete this one, it was an example. But here everything else is as you can see, they're just blank, nothing much, only just two commands, one for Windows, one for that. And if you go here, nothing in it. And then this is Cypress. Cypress has all these template or default text that gets added on when you create like a Cypress project. So basically that's that. This is brand new and there's nothing in this thing. So let's get started. So the first thing, if you want to test an API, the first thing you need to do is to find the link to this API. In this example here, I'm just gonna like go to like this default one that most people use. Is an online API that is probably just for the QAs majorly to just play around. You can just leverage it really. So in this API now, suffice to say that there is things like get, post, put, and delete. So all of these are really represented here. So I'm going to be taking one of each of these things, for each of these major calls. You know that we have things like options and the rest of the things, but the major ones are get, post, put, and delete. So let's talk about those ones. So the first one here, if we go here and just play with this is Swagger on this company's website. So if I just try this now and just say, hey, just execute this now, so you can see this is the command here. All it does is just really you don't even have to do it on Swagger, but it just gives you 200. And all this one really does is it just accepts application/JSON, and it just makes a call to this. Here is equivalent command for the call. So if we copy this command, and just to show you that this is just a simple API, just press an enter here and it just gives you these answers. Perfect, that's just more than enough. So if we want to go and create this, really first thing we need to do really is to just go here inside our test and just right click and then create, probably if you want to. So we can just, for this one now, this can be like create, this might be all the gets, so I'll just say get request, whatever, just say get request that we, all the get request that we want to make. So let's create our own thing. Actually, instead of wasting time, why not just do so let's say API underscore get dot cy.ts, really just do that. But instead of like wasting our time writing these things, go to dummy, copy any of this text here and just use it, strip it down and just use it for what you need it for. So here I'm just going to go and copy this one. I'm just copy the Cypress thing, just go here and just paste this through. Once I pasted this, I know that I'm missing out a few things here when I copy that, so just bring in these two things that I missed out. I don't need all these things at the minute, I just need to show you something that is very, very easy and scalable to do. So I'm just gonna like delete all of these things. Of course you know what this is, so if you have this command here, automatically get auto completion in Cypress. So but for the rest of the things, I'll just get rid of them completely. So let's delete all these things. So basically what we have is this. So we just say let's say when I make a call to the inventory endpoint, then what should happen? Obviously I don't care, you can just put it in given when then scenarios, but then the response should be valid. Here, write whatever it is you want really, but what I'm interested here is just to write these things in here, just so we can see what or how these things looks like basically. So let's start. So the first thing we need to do is do this. So obviously you begin to put these things now. The method is this, the URL you want to pass through. So if you go to this call we made through the call, here is a URL. obviously what I like to do is to sort out what is the base URL. Well, in this case, the URL that will be common to all of them would be something like https://petstore.swagger.io/v2. This one is what I think would be static across all the APIs. This one is the one that I want to centralize. I want to put it here to as my base URL. So if I go here, I'll just say probably just base URL here, and I'll just paste this one through here. Okay, but now that this is set up here, I want to now go and then go. So the remaining part of this URL would then be this, obviously, because this will vary depending on these endpoints. So if I want to go and talk to something, let's say probably just not on this category of stores, because I've been on store here. So if I want to go to like pet store as well, let's say if I want to find status of this pet as well as get, so if I select one of these and just say execute here, if I do that, you can see that this same path to v2 is fine, but from here it's now changed. So you can kind of see that our base URL here is obviously correct. So that's how I sort of tend to see that whatever that is going to be common across all of them. Now over here, so the remaining URL would be /store/inventory. That's what I want to like put through here. And once I've done that, so if there are other things that I want to put, like for instance here, if you come down here, you notice that this is also taking a header, and the header is taking is just accept. Accept is application/JSON. That is what it takes. So we kind of want to have to find a way to sort of set up this kind of header so that our test would be looking for it when it does make the call. So how do we do that? So quickly, very carefully, you see that we're still within this request here. So what I want to do is that just here, I'll just say, and I'll say headers here. So within this headers here, I'll just open up again and just begin to put whatever it is I want to put through. So the first one here is accept, accept, and this accept here, I want to have application/JSON. So application, just be careful of typing /JSON. Here, that's the only thing that this little thing here is really taking. That's the only mandatory. So we've just fulfilled all the basic criteria. First one is get, the base URL, and then just the endpoint, and then the header that it takes. So if we make this call, really, this is bare minimum. But if we make this call, I hope that everything else will go as planned, really. So this is going to go and make the call. I mean, there are other things that take like body and all that, but this is a get, really. You don't need so much on this one. So after you made this call, actually let's leave it like this and just make the call. There wouldn't be any response coming back, but let's just go and run the test and see how things are going. So for a start, we just go and look for the test. Let's see if the test is already running. Test was disconnected, so we just run npm install just to restore all the packages if there's anything missing. Now that we restore that, we just go npm run, and I will say site debug. I'm running in debug mode. Let's go here. Let's pop up. You can see now this is now showing configured because the project is kind of fully configured. So if I go here and go to this one, you can see that I got this one. So if I click on this, it should actually run the test, but as it's running the test, it's not showing us anything to say or to suggest that this test was successful. Well, the test may not have failed, but obviously it's not showing us that the test was successful. So what we need to do is to go back to the test and then go here. So here, so what we need to do is to say .then here, and then if we say .then here, we then go ahead and say, so we just say response, obviously, whatever I want to call this. Because I am doing, obviously, I'm doing TypeScript, I can actually just put any there. Otherwise, if you leave that, I think it should still be fine. So here, the first thing I want to check is I want to check that this responder status obviously is coming back to maybe something much sensible, really, just for me to know that the test has passed. So that's the first thing I should be checking. The other thing I want to check would be I want to check that the body really is actually just printing. In fact, what I suggest that people do is that just like do console.log and just log everything out. Here, I'll just to log everything out. I'll just say JSON dot and I'll say string file. I'll just log out the response. Obviously, I'll check if the status code is coming. When I log out this response, I will kind of see all the responses that are coming through physically. Then I would then go and sort of like this is like from answer to like question sort of like solution. I'll see what is coming down. Obviously from here I can see what is when I ran this test from command line on curl, I could see what was happening. But anyway, let's go and have a look and see what is coming through. So let's go here, let's go. So you can see, hooray, first of all, the expected response code is 200. Obviously now it's 200 and the assertion pass. So then the rest is that it's got a body, and these are the contents of the body and all of the rest of the things. So I can look through, you can see response status. There's a whole lot that is really coming down. So depending on what I now need to check, I can just go ahead and just say, first thing I just say expect. I can say expect this, expect the response body, and just type body. So I have just sort of like finished up this code. These are some of the things that the body can have, some of the things that came down from the body. If you go here, then you see that all the tests has passed. So basically you check the status, check that it's an object, check that it's sold, check that it has this, has header, has duration, and that's basic. These are just the basic, basically few things that you have to actually check. There's one more thing I want to show you before we disappear here. One more thing. So if you write one more test, obviously probably just doing kind of the same thing again. So here I'm going to write two tests. This one would be test A, test B. Obviously in terms of naming, please go ahead and name this whatever you wish. So let's do the second one. The other thing I wanted to sort of point out is something that is not really that you tend to see people sort of do, but maybe you don't know what that is what I want to point out. What people tend to do is that they sometimes make this request, but they don't want to do this assertion immediately here. So in this case here, if I just take this out for the time being, I'll just comment this off for a second. If we make this request and the response is going to come down, so well, we don't know, we can just like want to stop. There's something called an as here. So this as is something that you can use to nickname, kind of create a temporary variable for whatever your request that is coming down, whatever is coming down with. So here we can just call it anything. So this can be, let's say, get inventory, or just call this something like inventory that is coming down. So this inventory comes down and is sort of like saved as inventory. Now, whenever that I am in the mood to sort of finish up my test, probably there are other sort of code that will be here. So in this case, I'll just write some code. So some code go here, and what we now need to do is to obviously come below here. If I now want to sort of intercept this inventory that is kind of saved here, what I need to do now is to now go in again with Cypress. I can then go say, I'll uncomment this one back out. Actually, just let's run them just to make sure that things are running, because sometimes, yeah, you can see it is running. This is B is fine. This is C. The request has been made and is saved as inventory. Now, if I want to find it, I just kind of to assert them, I can kind of grab them, but to grab them, what I need to do is to say site.get, and I would sort of do this here as well. So I'll put that inventory, but to call it, I have to use the word add symbol. So at inventory, I don't need these ones anymore, because obviously, you know, it may not be what I need now. So this then has actually been inserted here. So what I should say is that I should probably just, if I need anything to use, I say should have response, this response of any, whatever. You can just find the real type that is coming down and just put it here. But in this case, let's take this out. In this case now, I have intercepted that now, kind of, and then say should response be, I can continue and then assert what the response is. Let's have a look, hopefully. There it is. So it has, we made a request and then we just go and get it back and then done the responses here, and then you can see it's that easy. So this is something else that people do to like make a call, save it, and then do something else and then intercept. There could be some kind of chains of tests that you may want to run that kind of may deal with these scenarios. Thank you.